What? Prosecutor von Karma, you mean? No, I heard it's his successor this time. Successor? Manfred von Karma was a really sinister man. That's putting it lightly. He pulled all sorts of nasty tricks, all so he could win. He was a man obsessed with the word perfection. He had a perfect record for 40 long years. Who knows what sort of dirty tricks he used to get each of those guilty verdicts. And for now, his successor, I wonder what kind of person they will turn out to be. It's no good, it's no use. Mystic Maya! Pearly! You showed up, thanks for coming all this way. I was really worried about you. Hey, where's your mother? Didn't you two come together? Mother's watching over the trainees. She said they had training for 2 days straight with no breaks. Huh? Then you came all by yourself? Yep, I snuck out of the manor and followed a map. Don't tell me you walked all the way here. Of course not. I ran. I can't. Oh my. If it takes 2 hours by train, oh man. Pearly, what about the train? Huh? What's a train? I give up. Pearl is adorable. It's time, isn't it? I'm really scared. What if Von Karma tries to do something to me? Fine. Prove that you're guilty? I mean, we expect that. This means like physically attack her. At least I know Mr. Edgeworth would be nicer to me than Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth? Who is that? He's Nick's rival. Well, he's also a friend. I still remember him as though I'd seen him only yesterday. Every trial was a scorchingly fierce battle to the very end. It was always back and forth with them, but when you're rivals for life. Maya, please don't mention that name ever again. Huh? But why, Nick? I'm sorry, Maud. I forgot you don't know. He's gone, and he's not coming back. What? Wait a second. What's that supposed to mean? Court will commence shortly. Please proceed into the courtroom. Let's go. Now's not the time for that to talk about that anyways. Nick. Court is now in session for the trial of Maya Fey. Again, are the prosecution and the defense prepared? Well, she looks better than her father, I'll give her that. A little more subtle of an outfit. Just a little bit, though. What is with this kid? Okay, so for those that missed this, apparently she became a prosecutor at the age of 13, which outside of the fictional universe of this game is basically impossible. Mr. Wright, are you prepared? Huh? Yes, Your Honor. Why does he always seem mad at me? Because you constantly show how incompetent he is. I'd get mad at him too. I don't want to just give her Mia's voice though. If I'm gonna give her any voice, it's going to be like Von Karma's, like a, can I do a, so Von Karma's was like this. Mr. Phoenix Wright. Sort of like that. Mr. Phoenix Wright, like that's a subtle difference. I guess we'll try that. You must be a little shocked because I am a woman, correct? Hold on, so she's the famed successor to Prosecutor Von Karma? Who gives a fuck if you're a woman? In fact, in my law school, I think our composition was like 56% women or something like that. It's pretty common. I am Franziska von Karma, the prodigy. I see. I gave up a promising career in Germany and came to this country for one sole reason. Revenge. Revenge? Is this about her father, Manfred von Karma? I don't know. Is this a meet? Like, dude, fucking, are you kidding me? If it's something of a personal nature, I'm sure you can. Ow. Nope, the game's over. The game's over. Game's over. Nope. Nope. Game's over. We are done playing this game because this trial is over. She hit the judge, meaning the trial is over. She gets arrested and the entire timeline is destroyed. So, yeah. It's unfortunate that the game had to end right there, but, you know, I guess that's just how things go sometimes. Nice win. Yeah, right? Yeah. Didn't even have to do anything. I'm talking. If you interrupt again, my whip will do the speaking for me. Please speak with your mouth like a normal person. I beg of you. Ow! Your Honor, this is clearly assault and battery. In your presence. Make no mistake, I will defeat you. Prepare to go down, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Prosecutor Von Kama, your opening statement, please. God, this judge, just the worst. Those of Von Kama blood have only one fate. Death? Because I'm pretty sure that's what happened to your father. They always talk about people getting hanged when they're found guilty. And that is perfection. The defendant's Maya Fey will find no escape from her guilt on my watch. Very well. What is the defense's position? Your Honor, she should not be allowed to prosecute anymore for the fact that she hit both of us. She should be held in contempt of court, or bring in what's his face, the dude with the nerdy dude with the glasses. He sucks. We can destroy him easily. Does the defense wish to enter a plea of not guilty? We haven't had to do that any time in any case before this, even though yes, you would have to do that. Ellipsis, yes. Foolish fool who foolishly dreams of foolish dreams. I'm too snotty for all this right now. Oh my God. 10 minutes. I give the defense 10 minutes before it changes its plea. That's right. I'll have you running for the justified self-defense plea in no time. Well, I mean, the plea is still not guilty. It's just not guilty by reason of justified self-defense. A plea usually reserved for when a person unintentionally kills in defense of themselves. We could very easily make a solid case that it was self-defense, but the defense stands by the plea of not guilty, Your Honor. How foolish. If that's how you want to play it, Mr. Phoenix Wright, then I shall now call the first witness. I do love how overly, she's even more dramatic than her father is. She's just as scary as her father, like daughter, I suppose. Witness, your name and occupation. Yes, sir. My name is Dick Gumshoe. I'm a detective at the local precinct. Ah! Your Honor, she is assaulting the witness. The prosecutor will refrain from assaulting the witness with her whip. Get to the point already. Explain to the court the details of this murder. Yes, sir. If everyone would please look at this map. The channeling chamber has no windows and the door was locked shut. At the time of the murder, only the victim and the defendant were in the room. What were they doing in there? They were channeling a spirit, sir. Channeling a spirit. That's quite the look of disbelief there, Your Honor. Anyway, a few minutes after channeling started, gunshots were heard coming from inside the room, sir. A few witnesses broke the door down and rushed into the room, including the person that's representing the victim, the defense, awkwardly. And that's when they found that the victim was already dead, correct? I believe this is one of the most open and shut cases I have ever presided over. Shut the fuck up and let us talk first. So, how was the victim killed? I was about to get to that. Stop wasting my time then. I have a 10-minute deadline. The direct cause of death was a pistol shot to the forehead, sir. The shot was fired from point-blank range. But before the victim was shot, sir, he was stabbed in the chest. The wound was very severe, but not enough to cause instantaneous death. The murderer used the pistol to finish the victim off after the stabbing. So the victim was stabbed before being shot. This is the victim's autopsy report, sir. The court accepts it into evidence. Mr. Wright, you may question the witness. But, I mean, why would you even bother at this point? I've already said it's basically pointless. The murder weapon, Detective Gumshoe. Whose pistol was it? It was the victim's. Ah, okay. So that's something I asked yesterday. Where the fuck did that gun come from? The victim? Now, why would he have... Why would he have a pistol? Who cares? The point that you are missing is whose fingerprints are on that pistol. If you're not already paying attention to that, then I suggest you start. Fingerprints. There were fingerprints, along with the victims. The defendant. My FAs were also on the grip, sir. So the defendant's fingerprints were left on the murder weapon. I walked right into her hands there. Point blank, huh? So how far away is that? It's anywhere between 12 to 20 inches away. I did not know that. I now know what point blank means. And how do you know he was shot at point blank? Tis, Mr. Phoenix Wright. No, no, no! I grow tired of the foolish foolery of the foolish fools of this foolish country. Excuse me, gunpowder burn. Gunpowder burn? When something is shot from point blank, a burn area is left around the bullet hole. Gunpowder exploding is what makes a bullet fire, and that gets real hot, pal. And there were definitely some gunpowder burns left on the victim's forehead. Wow, never knew that. Live and learn, I guess. Stabbed? And what was he stabbed with? A fruit knife. I see, and whose knife was it? Looks like it belongs to the face, sir. Why the fuck was it in there? And of course, my face fingerprints are all over it. Seriously, why was it in there? All over it, huh? Ugh, this does not look good. What will you do now, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Okay. How severe was the wound? If it had been half an inch more to the right, it would have hit the victim's heart. After a stab like that, it's impossible to fight back, let alone stand. His testimony makes it sound like Maya had stabbed him with the intent to kill. Are you sure he was stabbed first, then shot? Yep, sure as sure can be. One look at the wounds and you come to the same conclusion too, pal. Based on what? It's a conclusory statement. A fool is a fool who will only listen to the foolish opinions of other foolish fools. A pistol shot to the forehead at point blank is certainly enough to kill instantly. He still could have stabbed him after the fact. Does it matter then which was first? Think a little more before you open that big mouth of yours, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Ugh, what a pain. That's enough. We have clearly established how the victim was murdered. I brought the two murder weapons with me today. Very well, the court accepts them into evidence. 2 shots fired. The date and time of death was June 19th at 3:15 p.m. Eyewitnesses claim to have heard 2 gunshots at this time. And 2 murder weapons. Both of the defendant's fingerprints on them, huh? Did he get shot twice? I think he only got shot the once, right? This does seem like an open... Shut up. I guess at this time, at least we cross-examined. Naturally. This is going from bad to worse, as if the summary just now wasn't oversimplifying things to the extreme. Your Honor, feel free to slam that little gavel of yours now. After all, there's no room left for doubt, is there? That is quite true, Mr. Wright. Yes? Even in the face of all this, do you still wish to plead not guilty? It's the opinion of this court that if you not adjust your plea, you stand to lose. Now, you might think that that's bullshit too, but I've seen that happen before. where the judge basically goes, I think you guys should try to settle, because I'm really leaning one way here. And everybody's then it's like, shit, okay, let's go settle. See, just as I promised, Mr. Phoenix, Wright, you would change your plea in less than 10 minutes. What will you do, Mr. Wright? Will you change to justified self-defense, because now would be the time to do so? I'm guessing the answer is no, because we know what really happened and it wasn't justified self-defense. So it would be odd for the game to have you change it to something that you know isn't true. Even though, like, in reality, it might make sense to do it that way. Because in our world, I'm not sure that, oh, she was possessed by an evil spirit. It's gonna get you where you want. Although, again, insanity is always a thing, too. This is a huge decision. I'd better think this through all the way. If we plead justified self-defense, we would basically be confessing to murder. After the trial, Maya's life would be ruined and she'd be labeled a murderer. I can't let that happen. Your Honor, have you reached a conclusion, Mr. Wright? The defense will not change its plea. We will accept nothing short of complete acquittal, which is also what Mia said. God damn it! Stop hitting me. You have sealed your fate, Mr. Phoenix Wright, detective. Yes, sir. Present the final portion of your testimony, the final strike. Yes, sir. Now, see here, proceedings are run by... Yeah. Oh, yes, of course, your whip is actually what runs the proceedings. Go ahead, detective, and give your testimony. I think the court would like to hear about the other piece of incriminating evidence. At least she didn't say decisive. I'm so tired of how overused the word decisive is in these games. Everything is decisive, and it's like, no, it's not. Sorry, pal, but there's an even more incriminating piece of evidence. This is the costume the defendant was wearing at the time of the crime. Dude, it's not a costume. It's her actual outfit. As you can see, it's covered in blood. The defendant attacked and killed a person who, without a doubt, was not fighting back. So this is the costume. It's not a fucking... This certainly is evidence of a back spray of blood on this. This piece directly links Maya Fey to the crime, sir. I see. The court accepts this into evidence. Alright, Mr. Wright. Maya's fingerprints on both murder weapons and blood splatters on her clothes. Could this situation get any worse? Ha! What's wrong? You seem to be at a loss. I think this is the last piece of testimony the prosecution should have to offer. Feel free to sulk off with your tail between your legs, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Please stop calling me by my full name. It's disturbing. Also, I'm Attorney Phoenix Wright to you. And what's that? Why didn't you say so in your testimony earlier? You're kind of scary today, you know, pal? Come now, Mr. Wright. There's no need for that kind of attitude in my court. Not worth it. Alright, just please stop glaring at me like that. Maya's costume? Yeah, she was wearing this when we arrested her. Maya, she's wearing her channeling costume today too. She's not allowed to wear anything else. This blood on the costume. Lab results show that that is the victim's blood. Courtrooms would be way more entertaining if that always happened, like people talking to each other like this. So there is blood from the victim on the defendant's clothes. Definitely not good. So, were there any other clues you could glean from this piece of evidence? Well... If you must change the topic, then the good detective here must testify again. But too bad, not enough time, let's move on. Yes, Miss Von Karma is perfectly correct. What do you mean? No, it's not. You probably had an entire day set away for this trial. We definitely have time. Not even the judge is on her side. If I bite off more than I can chew here. Why is Miss Von Karma suddenly putting up resistance? There must be a reason as to why she suddenly threw out an objection like that. There must be something about this costume. I just have to look harder. Mr. Wright, Ms. Von Karma's logic is perfect. There is no way for you to poke a hole in it. It's like my time is up, so about the costume. Your Honor? Actually, there is something very wrong with this piece of evidence. What? What are you talking about, pal? Where is the problem you are talking about? Come this far. There's no turning back now. There's always turning back. The problem I have with this piece of evidence is here. I asked the court to please take a look at the sleeve of this costume. The sleeve? There's a tiny hole here. A hole? But that wasn't in the report. Hold on. What's this around the hole? It smells faintly of gunpowder. Gunpowder? No one ever told me. All you had to do was look at it, you fucking clod. A hole that smells of gunpowder. Looks like I found the hole I was looking for. Bang, 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 bang. Your Honor, the only logical conclusion you can make is that it must be a bullet hole. Order, order. This is a very grave matter. It's best we correct the court record first before anything else. Sorry about that. I guess we messed up, sir. Is she actually smiling? What else is she hiding? Pull yourself together, detective. That tiny hole doesn't change a thing. The strength of the evidence still holds. Continue with your testimony. That just now was a fluke, nothing more. How can you say something like that? This is a huge oversight. Well, I agree it is a mistake on the part of the police. What Prosecutor Von Karma has said is true. The evidence still stands. If you do not find a more definitive problem with the evidence, then... No way! Detective Gumshoe, please continue with your testimony. He wasn't fighting back. How do you know if he was or wasn't? We can find no evidence that the victim put up any sort of struggle, pal. So did the murderer have a fight with the victim or not? Depending on this, the circumstances around this murder changed drastically. We're in real trouble now. We only had something to prove that the victim did fight back. That Von Karma, she thinks she can decide the verdict with his testimony alone. Well, I'll find a critical contradiction somehow, and then I'll have her. Okay, so it's the outfit. We knew it was one of the 3 parts of that whole story. Detective Dick Gumshoe. Yes? Having you call me by my full name, it's kind of a weird feeling. You said that my client killed a person who, without a doubt, was not fighting back. Yeah, I did. Then what, may I ask, is the bullet hole your police overlook supposed to mean? What does it mean? I'll tell you what it means. It means that the victim had fired off a shot. Is that what it means to not fight back? Ah, you're right. It seems you are correct. Why wouldn't I have noticed that earlier when Miss Von Karma said that nothing had changed by the fact that a bullet hole was found in the defendant's costume? Idiots. If the victim had tried to shoot the defendant, then it would change everything. All right, the wind seems to be shifting. Huh. What is with that "are you finished yet" laugh? Are you finished yet, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Miss Von Karma. It seems that my affair was shot at by the victim. However, that is only grounds enough to support a justified self-defense plea. That is correct. But I'm sure you remember, Your Honor, what the defense clearly said. They reject justified self-defense and pleaded not guilty. Why, that's right. That was completely unnecessary. Which means the defense has yet to prove anything at all. No. Well, yes, that's true. Furthermore, just the fact that there is a bullet hole in the costume is not enough to substantiate even a plea of justified self-defense. Huh? How so? Ah! Don't just stand there. Hurry up and tell the court what transpired that day. With the new information we acquired added in, of course. Huh? You mean by myself? You want me to put together the scenario all by myself? Ah! the prosecutor will refrain from assaulting the witness, considering that I'm always accused of badgering the witness. What is this? Yes, sir. Right away, sir. During the challenge, the defendant saw her chance to stab the victim in the chest. Of course, the victim used the last of his strength to fight back, sir. While the two were fighting, the victim took out his gun. The victim took a shot, but because they were too close, he missed. The defendant then picked up on the opening, took the victim's gun, and ended it. This scenario you have put together does make sense. Yes, sir. Well, Mr. Wright, on the surface, it does seem to make sense. However, I won't give up that easily. Please refrain from glaring at me like that. How about you tell her to refrain from whipping you, you dumbass? Now then, your cross-examination, please. There's nobody in this game that triggers me more than the judge. In before, it's just a game. Why have emotion towards a game? Well, why play a game at all then? If you're not gonna feel anything. There's quite a difference in height between Dr. Gray and the defendant, and in body strength, and it seems unlikely the defendant could have stabbed the victim. Now that you mention it, yeah, I guess. You think you can get away with such flimsy reasoning, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Maya Fey was in the middle of a channeling, was she not? When channeling with the crane channeling technique, the medium physically changes. She might be setting herself up for failure here. The fact that she's actually admitting this. With the nurse's build, the defendant could have easily been a match for the doctor. I don't believe it. She even studied up on a crane channeling technique, almost like she did actual research for the trial. Oh my God! Like a good attorney would do. Like I said before, I am perfect. About what you were talking about, I didn't quite get it. Never mind. Let's continue with the testimony. So he was stabbed, but the stab wound didn't kill him. But if you think about the blood loss, he was probably hurt pretty bad. How badly hurt would you say he was? Pretty badly hurt. Actually, I went to give blood the other day, and afterward, I felt a little lightheaded and dizzy. I guess the damage was maybe about 10 times the dizziness? Ah! She didn't even say anything, she just whipped him. Sorry. Where in the world did that pistol come from? Looks like the victim, Dr. Gray, had specifically bought it for that day. But a handgun? He got it off the black market about 2 days before the murder. Why did Dr. Gray bring a gun? Was he taking precautions against something? So, you're saying that the bullet hole in this costume was made then? Sorry, pal, but yeah, that's what I think. The two of them were already fighting when a shot was fired. Maya, I'm really glad you weren't hurt. Maya has never fired a gun before in her life. The victim had already taken off the safety. With the safety off, even an amateur like you can fire it just by pulling the trigger. Even me? I wonder. Maybe I should shoot her in the forehead. Now do you understand? Von Karma's logic is perfect. Testimony certainly makes us look very bad, even though it's just something he came off the top of his head in like 2 minutes. But there's gotta be a contradiction in there somewhere. And uncovering it is going to uncover the truth. I can feel it. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm like, I'm overthinking this. I'm overthinking it, and I just need to fucking do it. Missing the tiny hole on this costume will be the prosecution's undoing. Huh? What do you mean? This little hole has actually created a huge hole in your testimony. We get it. Jesus, Phoenix. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. You said the two of them were fighting when the victim fired his gun at point blank. If that were true, then where is the gunpowder burn on the costume? Gunpowder burn? This is what you testified earlier. When someone is shot from point blank, a burn area is left around the bullet hole. Oh, but there is not a single trace of gunpowder burn on this costume. That is a very good point. And what exactly does this mean? It means that when the shot was fired, they were standing apart from each other. I'm disappointed, Mr. Wright. You think you can punch a hole in my logic with that? Oh, God. My whole head's gonna start rolling all the time. With wishy-washy thinking like that, anyone can explain anything away. Then I implore you to disprove my line of thinking. Let's see. In the middle of their fight, the victim pushed the defendant away, and it was then, when they were separated, that he fired. How was that? As if that was even possible. According to testimony, the wound from the stabbing was very severe. The victim would not have had the strength to push the defendant very far after that. Ugh. Well, then. That's right. The defendant must have pushed the victim away. After stabbing him, she must have put some space between the doctor and herself. And then while she was preparing to strike again, the doctor took his shot. There, that should satisfy even you. That does make an awful lot of sense. What do you think, Mr. Wright? Must be careful. I can't afford to make a mistake here. Concentrate and think. There's a fatal flaw in her argument, Your Honor. Fatal? Flaw? Yow! Very interesting. I would love to see where this flaw is. Show me something that contradicts my explanation. There has to be a snag in her explanation somewhere. She put some distance between them before rushing to make the final blow. And when she was about to strike, the doctor took his shot. There must be a piece of evidence that contradicts this line of thinking. This? Is it time to use this finally? 8 inches off the ground, it's so low. I think it's either the knife or this. This is the piece of evidence that destroys your logic. What is that? A folding screen? I would like to point out the court's attention to the hole in the folding screen. Ah! It looks like you already know what I'm talking about. Oh, where? What? He's just sitting there like, I don't know what's happening. Mr. Wright, your explanation, please. Are these two really that clueless? The bullet went through the defendant's sleeve first, then the folding screen. It passed through at a height of approximately 8 inches off the ground, which means when the shot was fired, the defendant, was not getting ready to strike, but was actually squatting low to the ground. Order, order. This changes everything. Please look at this diagram of the crime scene. The victim, Dr. Gray, was here when he fired the shot, and the bullet hits the folding screen. It hit at this location about 8 inches off the ground. At this time, the defendant was in this area. She was standing here near the folding screen. Wait a second. We know the defendant was close to the ground based on the height of the bullet hole, but how can you gauge the distance from that? Isn't it possible that the defendant was standing much closer to the victim? Not with the gunpowder thing. That's impossible. But why? You, of all people, should know the answer to that question, Miss Von Karma. If she were shot from somewhere closer, there would be gunpowder burns present. However, there is nothing of the sort around the bullet hole of this costume. Ugh, curse you, Mr. Phoenix Wright, you! I believe it has now been proven that the defendant was standing a ways from the victim when she was shot at. Do you think this has changed the defendant's situation? Of course. It changes nothing. Find her guilty. Honestly, Your Honor, this changes everything. The prosecution has claimed that the defendant was aiming to kill by stabbing. If that were true, delivering the final strike with the knife would be ideal. However, where and what was the defendant doing at the time? Squatting all the way by the folding screen? Exactly. If Maya Fey were the real murderer, why would she be by the folding screen instead of preparing to strike? Ugh. Upon further consideration, it does make very little sense. Yeah, I figured there had to be a reason. Figuring things out and proving the logic behind everything is your job. Ugh. Alright, with this, the rest of the trial should be in the book. No, no, no. You are such a smart man, Mr. Phoenix Wright. To think that you've been able to take a completely hopeless case to this point. Now I know why Papa had a tough time with you. You amuse me. Ugh, of all the things to inherit, why did it have to be that smarmy smile? Detective? How dare you damage my perfect logic? Huh? How's it all my fault? You can start repairing your standing by first removing that 3-strand goatee. Oh, and rest assured, your punishment will come later. Slashing noise. Punishment? Well then, Your Honor, I think I've had all I can take of this detective's face. Good God. Ouch. I think it's time to call in the next witness. Next witness? This has gotta be Lotta. Very well, the court will take a 5-minute recess. After we reconvene, we will hear from the next witness. At some point, he's gonna be making such little money that's like, what's the point of him keeping his job?